Hello, I'm MOBS and welcome back to the top 10 videos. Today we're going through the top 10 oldest mobs in Minecraft. The reason I'm doing this is because everyone knows what the newest mobs are at any given time. For instance, right now, a couple of months ago, we got polar bears, a couple of years ago, we got the guardians, but once you go beyond a certain point, people do get a bit confused. What came first, the chicken or the spider? And I figured since even I didn't know a lot of that stuff, I would go back and I'd let you know what the top 10 oldest mobs in the game are, because I was personally curious and I figured it'd be cool to share with all of you. So hopefully you all do enjoy this video. If you do like it, like me and let me know, because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me want to see similar stuff to this in the future. But with that said, let's get straight into it. So quick clarification, I'm going to be excluding Beast Boy, Rainer, etc., the ones that were removed for copyright reasons. If you want to learn more about those, I've got a remove features video. And second of all, I'm going to be giving you a fun fact as we go through each of them, just in case you're like, that did come first and it was different, because all of these mobs are over 6 years old right now, which means they were very, very different when they were first introduced. Like the slime, for instance, which is the 10th oldest mob in Minecraft and the 5th oldest hostile mob in the game. And yeah, the slime came in with 1.011 alpha, so in the alpha phase development, again, 2011, pretty old right now, and actually looked quite different to the way it does right now. It looked something like this. A lot of the kind of concept of it was pretty similar, but like I said, it looked different, and it was kind of a different mob right then, and it didn't really have any use with slimes, piston blocks and stuff. It just kind of existed in the game to be annoying. But with that said, let's move on to the 9th oldest mob in the game, which is the cow. So the cow, again, it's a similar thing where back when it was first introduced, it didn't have quite so much functionality, and also it had a different texture too. A lot of the mobs used to have different textures, but this one was very subtly different. You might not even notice it properly, but yeah, the cow was different, and it came in 1.08 alpha. The next oldest mob we're going to be going through is the giant. The giant is one of the coolest mobs in the game, but unfortunately has been removed right now. It was removed shortly afterwards, just before the cow came in, and basically it came in with 0.3003 classic. That name's already confusing back then, and the idea of the giant was that it's a zombie, but it's massive, and these things were just available for you to fight in the wider world, which is really, really cool. They're actually only officially removed from Minecraft in 1.8, which is the most recent console update, and only like 2 years ago from the PC, and I really want to believe they'll come back at some point, but it looks unlikely at this point. So yeah, the giant, one of the sadly removed mobs in the game, was the 8th oldest mob to be put in there. So what is the 7th one, you might ask? It is the sheep. So sheep came in with the 0.2407 survival test. This is when most of the mobs were added in this stretch of about a week or two, and the sheep was one of the last mobs in this big stretch of mobs. And yeah, the sheep was different at the time because first of all, looked very slightly different. Second of all, you could just punch it to get its wool off, and third of all, you wouldn't actually punch it to get wool off, you'd punch it to get cloth off, because the thing it dropped was called cloth at the time. So yeah, fun fact you might not have known about the sheep when it first came out in 0.24 survival test. The next mob, or the 5th mob, again we're going like backwards order in case you can't tell, was from 0.24 survival test as well, and it is the spider. The spider was really interesting because when it was first in development, it was brown instead of black, and although it's always been as terrifying, the same number of noises, it is one of those mobs that has remained roughly similar since then. They've gained the ability to climb walls, they've got the potion ability stuff, but the same kind of spider functionality has been there ever since. So the 5th oldest mob in Minecraft is a very iconic one, and it happened because Notch was playing around with the pig model and just accidentally came up with the creeper. So yeah, the creeper came in with 0.24 classic, and the biggest difference from the creeper then and now, although most of its functionality has been the same because it's meant to be this big iconic, it blows up your world, the sound has changed since then. The sound used to be more of a deep bassy one, now it's a bit more of a fun one, like, oh boom, isn't that fun, your stuff's all destroyed. It used to be a lot more kind of more serious than it was, and that's true for a lot of Minecraft sound, but particularly with the creeper. So I mentioned the pig, it is actually the 4th, or the 3rd, depending on how you want to count it, oldest mob in the game, because it came with a 0.2405 classic survival test, again, confusing name, and basically, yeah, the pig was one of the first non-hostile mobs in the game that actually had a purpose, because again, it later dropped food, and was really used for that sort of thing. When it was first in the game, it just kind of dropped mushrooms, which was a bit bizarre, and also it had a different model without quite so pronounced as now, and yeah, basically it wasn't quite so useful when it first came out, and it looked different, but it was the start of having mobs in the game which you could actually do something with, and the first one that you could really, be friends with, although you can be friends with a zombie and a skeleton if you want, because they're the 2nd and 3rd, respectively, oldest mobs in the game. They're the 2 mobs, and 2 of the only mobs that have ever came out at the same time, in the exact same update, on the exact same day, because they were there to add some hostility to the game. So of course the zombie has always been just as, roughly boring as it has the whole time, but skeletons were really interesting because they used to add purple coloured arrows when they were first in the game, and also when they died, they had this kind of death, last stand attack where they'd fire arrows in every direction when they died to kind of like, get you no matter where you were, which is a pretty cool attack if you ask me. But yeah, that is they're the 2nd and 3rd oldest mob, the first hostile mobs added to the game. But you might wonder, what is the oldest mob ever to be added to Minecraft? And unfortunately, it is the oldest, it has been removed and has been removed for a very long time since then, and it'd be unthinkable if it was still in Minecraft to date, because it is the human mob. So yeah, the human mob is one that's hard to get your head around because it is Steve, but this was Steve before Steve was Steve, so this is what the character is based off to some extent. But yeah, this is the human, the oldest mob that was ever in Minecraft, and it was kind of like the zombie, except it was non-hostile and just ran around doing a whole bunch of weird stuff. To me, at least, it's really weird to try and imagine this in the present-day version of Minecraft, but it was something that did exist at one point in time, and the game, I think it's a whole lot better for improving it. I think the giant could roughly fit in with the current theme if it was a rare mob spawn, but I feel like the human, you could put it in a really cool way, but I feel like in the form it was is just a really, really strange mob that I'm kind of glad they removed. So yeah, what is the oldest mob in Minecraft? It is the human. What is the oldest currently existing mob? It is tied between the zombie and the skeleton, and the oldest mob that you can be friends with is the pig. So yeah, hopefully you learned something from this video, whether it was just that slimes used to look different, or whether it was that, you know, cows are actually newer than spiders. Maybe you learned something like that along the way. Again, I was really interested because the alpha in dev classic phase of development were really, really old, and most people weren't playing the game back then. You know, they had less than like 100,000 sales, as opposed to like the 50 or close to 100 million they've got right now, which means that a lot of people didn't know this stuff, and I was among them. So maybe you learned something. If you did, I'd appreciate a like. If you really liked it, share the video, because that's how the channel gets out there and more people see the video, which is of course something I rather like myself. Just a quick little promotion here. If you want to get a free trial for 30 days of Amazon Prime membership, which is really awesome because you get to watch all their stuff and you also get to listen to all of their music, and you get free delivery on like a whole bunch of stuff, you might want to do that by clicking the links in the description, or usamazon.ibxtoycat.com or ukamazon.ibxtoycat.com. It does both help me out, and it gets you a bunch of free movie stuff, which you might want to check out if you like free things. I mean, if you don't like free things, that's fine too. But otherwise, subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos, hopefully teaching you things you didn't know about Minecraft every single day, and if you subscribe, you'll see those daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.